Okay, cool. Hi, this is the elevator. This is
Powered from the Mac.
powered from my Macintosh, as you can see. I was in charge of the coding. The algorithm works basically by completing. It has a state, which is basically all of the user inputs, and it attempts to complete itself until it gets to an end state where all these inputs are empty, so false. I'm not going to explain how that works, but essentially it can do things like this. Moves up to a floor.
Do the multi-state.
Move down.
So that's from floor 2 to floor 0 and vice
It
versa.
has a multi-state feature, so if I press the downward pointing arrow on the user input things over here, which will explain later, and the up and the top button, it will skip.
As you saw, it skipped,
will
yeah.
skip the second floor and then go back down to the second floor.
First floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next
So
one.
that was the algorithm.
Jason will now or Josh will now explain the electronics.
Cool. Yeah, so then what we had, obviously you saw the breadboards in the Arduino. So the Arduino, which is an entire controller that's been programmed to actually do all the algorithmic steps and actually work out what has to happen. Then the input board over here has standard tactile push buttons with an arbitrary resistor on it to get rid of floating voltage we had. And then basically what happens here, this is your input board. So that's all connected to digital pins on the Arduino, which are programmed as inputs. And then on this side over here, this breadboard over here, well, firstly, say hello to our mascot. Yeah, it's
Cool.
kind of giving us stuff. And then our output board basically is connected via the analog in, which is actually an output as well. And we have all the LEDs over here, which are connected into the output of the Arduino. And then we have two LEDs over here, which are connected to the motor control. Because here we've also got an IC. Jason will tell you the model of the IC and everything. But this is basically a motor controller. We have 8.5 volts coming into it. That controls the motor. And these LEDs have different colors when it
LEDs
goes on and
which
off.
change color. Red is for
These are the LEDs, yeah. You'll see if I had to go down to floor 0 now, you see the red one shows where it's going and then changes to white when it gets there.
okay, yeah,
And then same for when it goes up to floor 2, for example.
for one actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they just have the different kind
Cool.
of the inputs. the
Jason, would
interior
you like to
output.
explain the motors?
Okay. So it uses an LM293 DNE H-bridge controller, which
That's Jason's face.
basically allows the Arduino to control a motor at much higher voltage than its own operating voltage. And we're not using the motor control feature, so it just makes the motor go spin in one direction and then spin in the other, so it just reverses the polarity. And the motor itself uses basically an almost cam-like setup where it has a belt, and the motor acts as one of the gears, and then it has a loose gear at the bottom, which gives zero friction, and then the thing just spins up and down on a set axis, so that the actual shaft moves up and down, or carriage.
And like
Yeah.
Jason said, the external power supply supplies 8.5 volts to the H bridge, which then powers the motor.
Alright, cool, yeah. That's our elevator
elevator.
project.